Here we go. Grab your coffee or wine. Chapter 40. Quae res igitur, tantum istum furorem sextus Roscius objecit. So, which matter or circumstances, igitur therefore or then, such istum furi. An objecit usually means cast upon, it probably means the cause here, as figuratively. So which circumstances then cause istum furem, such fury, to make Sextus Roscius do this, which was what fury was upon him. Patre inquit non placabat, so he wasn't pleasing. Inquit said the accusation to his father. He did something that wasn't pleasing to his father. This is quoted. And then patri non placet, so he wasn't pleasing to his father. Quam ob causam. What was this cause? What was this reason? Ob means because of. Quam ob causam is pretty common for why. Necesse est. It's necessary. Enim. For something must be necessary. Quoque also. Justem magnam perspicuam fuisi. Necesse est usually takes this infinitive. So there must have been something necessary that was just and great and perspicuous. It basically means clear or obvious for this line of thought, that he didn't please his father. Nam ut illud incredibile est. We've had necesse est, now we have incredibile est. For, as this illud is incredible, that a mortem oblatum esse patreo filio, that there would be a death oblatum est by a son to a father, that oblatum est, this death would be brought upon the father. Again, it's in the dative. Sine, ablative preposition. Plurimus and maximus causes. Okay, so it would be incredible for a son to bring death to his father without many plurus, maximus, great causes, reasons basically. Thus, hoc veri simila non est. This is not very similar. This is not similar to the truth. This doesn't have the bearing of truth. Sic, thus. Odio fuisant parento filium, for the son, the filium, to odio his parent. It's for a filium, for a son to hate his parent. Again, it's the dative construction for a third declension. And again, we have sine, the preposition that takes the ablative, without causus multus and magnus and necessarius. So without many causes and great ones, magnus. So it would be necessary for him to have many reasons and great ones indeed for the son to hate his parent that much, especially to bring death to him. 41. Roscius igitur. Igitur is therefore, Roscius is again. Revertimur, let us revert or go back to eodem, the same matter, it's a demonstrative pronoun, revert to the same matter. Et and querimus, we shall ask, which, quae, tanta, vidia, which vices furin were they in unico filio, so this in is taking the ablative, in this one son, tanta here is just meaning such vices. What were these great vices? Usually it means it's a quantity. Qua re, ablative, in which this matter, displiceret, he is the nominative, is displeasing to his father. So what were these great vices in this one and only son, which would be displeasing to the father? But perspicuous est nullum fuisi, it's the infinitive of the perfect, but it is clear, it's perspicuous, that he had none of these, nullum, he had none of these vices. The pater, the father, igitur, therefore or then, amens, which means he was mad, mad in the sense of angry. These are pater amens, it's apposition. The father must be mad then, qui who, odicet, who had hated, eum, him, this is the son, sine causa, without a cause, without a reason, whom he has procreated, who he's given, well, the mother's obviously given birth, but he's the father of the child in this procreation. But, it's a strong but, is, again, he, this would be the father, indeed or even quidem, he felt he was, the most constantissimus, most steadfast or stable omnium of all men. Ergo, therefore, illud iam perspictum profecto est. Again, profecto means assuredly, it's an adverb. Therefore, this is now already perspicuous. It's clear, assuredly, that see if neque neither amens pater, if neither the father was crazy or mad, and neither was the perditus filius fuerit, neither was the son this huge destructive waster of his life, or profligate as they call it, and neither odi causam patri, neither was this cause odi to hate for the father, and neither for this sceleris to be to the son. So neither should this crime be attributed to the son. So there's no reason for the father to hate, and no reason for the son to do this crime. Chapter 42, Nescio inquited. Cicero here is quoting what the other lawyer said. I don't know what was the causa odio, fuit had been. I don't know what had been the cause of this hatred, but fuisi odium intellego. Understand there had to have been, there was fuisi and this hatred, who, ante before, cum duos filios haberat, when he had two sons, illum alturum, the other one, qui mortis est, who was dead. Mortis is the irregular supine, because there's two U's. Secum means with him. Omne tempore volabat. He was always wanting him at all times to be secum with him. Say honk and hunk. This one in pradia rustica relegaret, and he had relegated this other one, the one who's on trial, to his rustic estate, or to his rural farm to do the work. Quod Eurico accidebat, imperfect. So what had happened to Eurico in mala nugatoria qui accusation, nugatoria is a cool word, in this evil and basically rubbish, nugus means, in this accusation, so this in here is obviously taking the ablative. So what happened to Eurico, Euricius, that's his dative form, in this accusation of talking evil and rubbish, same thing, idem, Yuzu mihi. This has happened in my experience. Yuzu, if you know how that word works, this has come into his experience, or his field of experience, in causa optima, when he has pled the cases, the causa optima, the best cases. Ille, so he, this is the lawyer for the bringing the accusation, quo modo crimem commenticium confirmaret non invenabat. So, he is not found. A confirmaret just basically means any way of strengthening. This commenticum is the forgery or false. Crimen is the accusation. So he's not found a way that when he can strengthen this fictitious allegation, quo modo, by any way. I, in a res tam levis, in a matter so light or superficial, qua ratio, in which accounting or in which way of thinking, is infirmam and diluam repere non possum. So possum is taking the infinitive. I'm not able to find basically a defence in a matter so light and so infirm and weak, and dilute am is just another word for weak basically. Okay, 43. Quid eis Eurici. So this second declension words, especially ones that have ius, just take I in the vocative. So what do you say, Euricius? And I've set up the daily dictionary word, commenticius. It's the male as female and neuter. Top 10,000 words. Fabricated, fictitious, forged, false, imaginary, invented, devised, improvised, etc. Tot pradia, which means so many, neuter plural, so many farms. Tam pulchra, that's the adjective. So many farms that were so beautiful. Tam fructuosus, this means fruitful, both in, you could say as for fruits and for profit. Sextus Roscius, here's our nominative. Did Sextus Roscius relegionis, relegate so many beautiful and profit-producing estates or farms, filio sua, to his son, and supplici genitive gratia. Again, causa and gratia, you have your post prepositions, postpositions. So for the sake of punishment, supplications, that he would collender, which is the cultivating. This is a gerundive. And tuenda, and to safeguard or watch over. Okay, here's the verb tradiderat. So did Sextus Roscius tradiderat hand over to his sons, this which he had relegated there, these so many beautiful farms and estates, for the sake of punishing and for cultivating and safeguarding over. Quid, what? Hoc patres familia, a part of familia is the head of the family, head of the household. Familiars can also include your slaves somewhere. So hoc patris familia, so the heads of the family, qui liberos habet, who have liberos, which are children, accusative plural, praesertim, especially, adverb. Homines ilius ordinus, men of this order, this is his social order or ranking. So he was influential, he had a lot of estates, and he had some sort of social order. From Municipius rusticus, these are from rural towns. X is just taking the ablative. Nonne, surely, optissimum sibi putant, they think, putant, for them to themselves, sibi, the best thing, the optissimum, the superlative, sa, that filios suos, that their children, their sons more specifically, re familiare maxime servire, that they serve in especially to the family matters, the familius re, and in the colendes, in the pradias, operes, the works of cultivating in their estates, plurimum studiqui consumere. So what they're consuming here is just their time, basically. So they think it is best, optissimum, for their sons to preserve especially the to the family matters and the cultivating of their estates in this work, to consume their time, and then most of their effort. The studiqui usually just means effort or something. 44. So studies is the genitive, so most of his time. Doesn't necessarily mean zeal or studies, because it can mean his devotion as well, so he's devoted to that. So an means weathered, amendaret, this is a version of mandate, so when to entrust him, sic ut, the two correlatives. Thus he entrusted this to him, so that in agro and tantamone modo alitro. So he was entrusted with the fields, or sending out into the fields, tantamodo only, so that he could be nourished, alirito, ad vilem. So he was sent into this villa and to take care of the fields, just to get enough food, alirito, and ut, so that commodus omnibus carrieret. Carrier means to be lacking or free from, takes these ablatives. So that he'd be lacking all conveniences, basically. So he was sent there just to get enough food, and then he would lack all these conveniences. Quid, what? See, if, constat, impersonal, if it was agreed, hunc, that he not only praefusi, he was in charge of the stative of cultivating these estates, colendus praedus, but certis fondis, but some sort of dative or ablative plural, to certain estates or certain farms, patre vivo, with his father living. Here it is, solitum. He was accustomed, fruae, to enjoy, and the enjoy is why these are in the ablative. So he was accustomed to enjoy these estates with his father living. Tamen ne, the ne means a question. Nevertheless, hake he, from you, so this guy's life, his vita eos, from you, appellabitur. Do you call this being relegated to the countryside and amendatio? Amendatio is actually, I think I called it entrusted before. It actually is a banishment when you get sent away. So he was relegated to a country area and he was sent away to it. So there's a question, do you think that from this kind of life, this is what you would call it? You will appellabitur? Vides, you see, here we go, vocative, Eurecus, more like it's a question really. So do you see Eurecus? Quantum, how much distant, comes from disto, how much it differs, argumento tuo, your argument, ab re ipsa atqui a verite. How your argument differs from the re ipsa, from the matter itself, and a veritate, from the truth. Quod consuetudinae, ablative, patres, faciunt. So, what patries, fathers, they do in their in their habitual ways, id this, quasi, as if novum reprehendus. So, this you are reprehending as if it is a novelty, a new thing. Quod benevolentia fit, so what happens from goodwill, benevolentia, from goodwill, id, this, odio factum criminaris. This you incriminate or accuse of being a fact or something that was done in hatred, in odio, from hatred. Quod honoris causa, again, causa the postposition, followed behind a genitive. What for the sake of honour, a pater in the nominative, the father has conceded filio suo to his son for the sake of honour. This, eum supplicare causae, this for the sake of supplication, of punishment. Dicis, you say, fecis, he has done this for the sake of punishment. Nequi haec tu non intelleges. So neither haec these things do you do not understand. So it's not that you don't understand these things, sed usquio, but usque as far as eo, this thing quid which arguis, which you argue, non habes, you don't have anything for which you are arguing. Ut non modo, so that not only tibi to yourself, contra us dicendem, in the speaking against us, putes, that you think in your speaking against us or pleading against us, verum, so you don't have the truth even, contra rerum nature, in against the nature of things, and contra constitutionem hominem, and against the customs of man, and contra opinions of all, and against the opinions of all. Okay, so what he was saying there, so it's not that you don't understand this, but you don't have anything in which to argue, and not only against the nature of all things, basically, because you've got the opinions of all here. But so what Cicero is saying is he doesn't have anything to argue with, and what he does argue is against nature, against the habits of men, and against the opinions of all, or what people would think. Okay, for enim at but. So you could say, but for when duos filios habet, but when he had two sons, alterum, one, he did not dismiss away from himself, he did not demit a bat, he was not sending one away from himself, but the other, the alterum, so these are correlatives, alterum's one, alterum's the other, he suffered or allowed him to be, I think that's locative in the countryside, ruri. Quaso, sometimes it means please, or it means I beg you, vocative, eurychius. That, so I'm asking that this in good partem accipius, that you receive this, accept this in a good part. However you want to interpret that. For non causa ex probrium, not for the sake of reproaching you or insulting you or talking back to you, but commendi gratia. So these are the two ways you do these causa and gratia, but behind genitive. So you got a good example there. He didn't do this for the sake of reproaching him, but for, you get admonish and monio in the second conjunction. But dicem, I said this for the sake of advising you, not for reproaching you.